Good morning. Good morning. Check the mic, check the volume. Good morning. We are live. Good morning. Let's see who's all on. Yes, I'm running late today. I went out for breakfast this morning with a mate, and I just thought it'd be easier just to do a live. It's a lot easier doing the lives than it is the pre-recorded videos. And sometimes the other videos do a bit better because you get done with the search algorithm. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up to help that with the algorithm also. Let's get some comments in. Good morning, Street Shitter. Good morning, Mark Allen. Good morning, Sean Hill Baz. Good morning. Right, so let's get into the video. What do we think about the game yesterday? Obviously, I just watched the Liam Scales interview, and Liam Scales, who done fantastically well yesterday, actually. So there was a lot of people on the live before the game when we did the team announcement. And a lot of people were saying, we're going to get hammered. We're going to get absolutely annihilated. It was going to be a nightmare at the back. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Guys that are on so far, how many do we have on altogether? Morning from Dublin. Kind of delicate this morning. Baz, hope you have a great day. Good morning from Berlin. Jared Docker is in Berlin. Good morning to Berlin from Spain. Right, there is around 67 people online. I'm not expecting too much because it was kind of unannounced, this one this morning. So, yeah. Tell me what you think about the game yesterday. My thoughts on the game, I thought the defence were actually a lot better than what they were. I think the weak link was obviously Liam Scales fan. Still a huge Liam Scales fan, says Borders Boy. Let's get some more of the comments in. Some comments. Perfect live Sunday. Still a huge. I'm still going to do a live at 6 p.m. tonight. So we will still do the Sunday night live show. Only because it's a regular thing now. So even though I'm doing this live this morning, this is just the morning news bulletin because I didn't have time to do a pre-recorded video. And good game last night. Defense was a little weak at some points. I thought it was good attacking football. Let me go back to this one. I thought Scales started off well, but his level dropped a wee bit. Decent performance from him overall. I think the two of them actually played quite good together. Now, we all know that, and the big thing before the game was, where was Starfelt? Where was Starfelt? And it turns out that Starfelt had an ankle injury. What is going on at Celtic? I did name this video what is going on, and it's a bit of a worry. But Brendan Rodgers has said, talking about the injury to Starfelt, and obviously talking about the window and things after the game yesterday. Obviously, Starfelt didn't travel to Dublin because he had suffered an ankle injury in training that kept him out. But he could return for Tuesday night clash with Bilbao for James Forrest's testimonial. It is the last. This was the big test yesterday. You've got to remember, they finished 13th in the English Premier League. Now, for a team that finished 13th in the English Premier League, now I know it's pre-season, but what do I take from that? English Premier League, you're having a laugh. That's what I'll take from it. I thought the fact that they are in this league that's meant to be a lot better than ours. I'm trying to find a banner, actually. There we go. Where's all the banners gone? I need that one up. And banners. There we go. And yeah, I thought the fact that they are in the English Premiership, they finished 13th, they finished just behind Chelsea. I thought it was a good test for us. I thought it was a good test for the younger lads in the team to get a run out. And a lot of us thought before the game that Scales and Welsh were basically putting themselves in the window. I think they were doing more than that. I think they were proving that they're going to be good squad players. It's been interesting to see that Brendan has said that he's had talks with Barry Robson up in Aberdeen about Liam Scales. And Celtic manager has admitted that he's a huge admirer of the 24-year-old defender. He's been handed plenty of minutes this pre-season, which has been good. But do we keep him at Celtic as backup? You've got a lot of defenders coming back now. Carter Vickers isn't too far away. Will he get that game time, or would he be better going to Aberdeen? And I mean, Barry Robson is on record saying that he would love him back at Aberdeen. He had a successful season last year. It'd be great to get him back at Aberdeen just to get the game time. Now, Aberdeen, you've got to remember, Hearts were away in third position for the majority of last season. And Aberdeen came fighting back with Liam Scales and that team and finished third, and they got that European spot. It was only a pre-season game, but we looked better than them, even with us being under strength. I think if we'd played a full... And what about that dive? I understand that Celtic TV slated them, giving it a Todd Cantwell nod of approval. Let's see, how bad is it handled? Right behind the shoulder. For winding up the curtains. No, we had this talk yesterday. We'll have shutters here in Spain to keep the sun out because it's that hot. It's for the shutters. So yeah, let's go on. Move on. Right. Starfelt. No, it wasn't. It was Liam Scales we were talking about. The manager has been speaking about Liam Scales, and he says that after the successful loan spell he had last year, he's got a bit of a dilemma. He either keeps him on the team and he really likes him as a player, but the fact how much game time will he get during the whole season? It's good to have him as backup, but Robson, the Aberdeen manager, he wants him back. He says the importance of having him in the squad last year helped Aberdeen secure third place. Obviously, he can't play against Celtic. He's got that ability to play in a couple of positions at the back, but will Scales hang around at Celtic to sit in the back team? When you look at the interview that Scales did yesterday, Scales did say all he wants to do was to impress the people here at Celtic, and he wants to just do his best for the club, which is absolutely fantastic. But when you look to get him to progress that bit more as a player, he needs to get the game time. And I think it's going to be a big, big week. And talking about transfers, Brendan Rodgers did talk about transfers yesterday, and it's obvious that the Korean guys that have came in aren't going to be first team ready players. They're more projects, and the boy for Australia, he's obviously a project player also. I mean, the fact that Rockies came in, he appears to be the only one that's maybe first team ready, but even he was carrying an injury. And what is going on at Celtic with Starfelt being injured also. So I don't know. Let's get back to the comments because there's absolutely an abundance of comments. Good morning from Berlin. That's the last one we'll go to. Good morning, Baz. Hope you're good. Roll on next week. Yep, it's going to be a fantastic week. I think for the game, James Forrest game, we will do a live throughout that whole game so we can sit and watch that together. I might take a bit of rearranging with the furniture here, but I might be able to do that. I just don't tell the missus yet who's working on the other side. Borders ball, perfect for a Sunday live. We should have beat them. We should have. I think if we're up to speed. But then again, if they're up to speed, it could have been a bit of a different game. But yeah, if that's the level of competition at the English Premier League, when you're 13th, 14th position, people say that if I love it when English fans say that Celtic wouldn't stand a chance in the Premier League. And I always say to them, if you give us the same money that the English Premier League teams get with regards to revenue from TV, if we're given that same amount of money, you're going to get players that would rather than go to Wolves, rather than go to Tottenham, rather than go to Chelsea, rather than go to Newcastle, we're going to come to Celtic. Right? They're going to come to Celtic because it is a bigger club and a bigger audience, and it's a bigger stadium, it's a better stadium with atmosphere in mind. And you put us on a level playing field, and Celtic are finishing top 6 in that league all day long. Thought Scales started off well, dropped off a wee bit, a decent performance from him overall. Good game last night. The defence was a little weak at some points. Some good attacking football. I thought it was actually quite. When you look at the lineup and the way they were playing, and when you look at the way the back line was actually, sometimes with Carter Vickers and Starfelt, the two of them are never sitting level. I thought Scales and Welsh were sitting level a lot, and that's tactically, it was a good thing for me. The formation was good. The formation play was good yesterday. Looking at all these things, there was a lot of positives to take from the game yesterday. So people saying that it was a bit slack, they're not going to be our first line of defence. They are They need game time. Future, they could be good, but if they can improve under Brendan, but you never know what's going to happen. Good morning, says Somerset Tam, hail from Somerset. Liam Scales, and then he stopped typing. Taylor, shocking. Please, if you're Taylor, let me see you. Taylor had a bit of an off day. I think Taylor likes the fact that he has Carter Vickers and Starfelt. He trusts them. He's played with them for a couple of seasons now. And there is that thing that when you've got guys that you can rely on at the back, compared to, we'll all admit, Scales and Welsh, you always thought, before the game, there was lots of people on here saying it was going to be a cricket score for Wolves. And it didn't materialise, which was good. And the fact that we got the lead, what about Hart in the first 30 seconds? Giving away a corner in the first minute of a game, Hart. I mean, we'll have a lot of people saying we need to get a keeper. I think it's part of. I thought we might have changed keepers at halftime. Why have two keepers on the bench at a game like that? Richie Boy talking about that. Please buy a solid left back and a goalkeeper. I think there was somebody actually mentioned on the video yesterday that she was related to Ben Siegrist, and she says that Ben was completely happy at the club and he doesn't want to go. I think Ben Siegrist needs game time. Is he the answer for Europe? There were some times during that game that, Hart did show his international pedigree. He showed the experience that he's had over the years at playing at that level, and he did make a good save, that diving save that he made. I don't know if that was going in or not, but he made an absolutely cracking save. That back four cannot start. Taylor looked weak. That's what I'm talking about, Tim. Taylor not having that confidence of having players at the back that are solid and that have done so well for the team. I think that probably put Taylor off slightly, if you ask me. Graham says, I thought the defence played well, but Wolves aren't the team that they were last season. The backbone of their team has been sold and not replaced. I didn't know that, Graham, so I don't know the standard they were at last year, but I think when you look at it and look where they finished, it's still an English Premier League team. Everyone before the game said that we're going to get annihilated, and we didn't. So anyway, I'm going to move that out of the road because people don't need to move it like that. Who cares? Anyway, John says, morning from Dundee. I thought Kiwan and Yang looked lovely when they came on. Yet they did. They are going to be, I don't think they're going to be first team ready right at the start of the season. Is that the back four for next Saturday? I very doubt it. Starfelt will be back in play, and it just depends on how far Cameron Carter Vickers is away. Jim McDonald says, morning Barry, I was quite happy with the performance yesterday. Yep, I thought it was a good, and I'm wearing this today. It is the original. It's a wee nod to our one and only Portuguese superstar, Cadete, who's and an interesting fact about Cadete, he's actually on Instagram, and he still gives a little nod to Celtic now and again on his Instagram, and he actually does up houses in Portugal. Him and his little team that he's got, and they buy old ruins of buildings and then do them up and sell them on. It's quite fascinating what he does for a career now. So yeah, and I actually had Cadet's phone number. And probably still have it if he's got the same number. I've still got his number. Anyway, Jim says he was quite happy with the performance yesterday. Yeah, it was all about performance yesterday. It was about these guys. And as we said before the game, Brendan Rodgers threw down the gauntlet to a lot of players yesterday and says, go and show me how good you are against players that are of a better standard than that you'll meet in the in the Scottish Premier League. And that's what it was. They were a step up again. They were a step up from the games in Japan. And the level of performance had to show that. And I thought it did yesterday. I thought the level of performance was good. I thought it was a good test for all these players that are on the sort of the sidelines of the team. It was quite fascinating, the players that didn't go over there. One, obviously, James McCarthy, he has to be on his way to the door. Street says it was only a pre-season game, but we looked better than them, even with us being at the stands. We need to say Taylor has been good for us in the SPFL, but he's not good enough for the Champions League. And there's a handle one. Yep, hail, good morning from Somerset. Keep scales, says Somerset Tam. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks in the transfer window. Brendan has said that he does expect to make some movement in the transfer window So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Morning from Bedfordshire, says Gareth. Liam says, morning, troops, hail, hail. And hail, hail, good morning, boys and girls, says Grab Boy. MUFC, okay. Okay, Mark. No contact. He's done. He done a Cantwell. Yep. Jeremy Collett says that he's done a Cantwell. He has that. The attacking play was brilliant. Hail, hail. It was good considering the standard that we've been the last couple of weeks. Rod says good morning from Brecon. Let's get in a lot of the comments first of all. Helen says good morning. Morning, Helen. How are you? Yep, I was wrong. There we go. Rab, you were one of the ones yesterday that said, well, we're going to get it was going to be a cricket score. Does it not? You thought we were going to get and you came on, fair play to you, mate. Came on, yep, I was wrong. Happy to see the young guns at the back play so well. And yep, it was interesting to see the young guys playing so well. And I did say it was a big test for them, a big case of throwing down the gauntlet and throwing down the gauntlet to them, seeing how good they were. And I'm telling you, formation-wise, when you look at, if you analyse that game, when you look at the formation-wise, the two of them were sitting level at the back. The two of them moved out together. They did a lot of things that you would expect Starfelt and Carter Vickers to do, you know, and sometimes they've done it just a little bit better. Brendan was really impressed with them. I certainly was when you look at the tactical side of the game and just little things that a lot of people probably weren't paying attention to. Good morning, says Sean, Jeremy Collett, Pork Chops. If Starfelt, let's show this one. If Starfelt stays, then Scales isn't playing unless anyone's injured. Loan him out again to the dolly. I think that's going to be I think they'll only loan him out. The fact that Brendan's admitted that he's had talks with Barry Robson, I don't think they'll send him up to Aberdeen if Barry Robson's not going to make him a first choice player. If Barry Robson's going to have him at Aberdeen as a backup, Brendan will say, no, we'll keep him here. We'll keep him at Celtic as backup and we can progress him more here. There's no use putting him out, and if he's not going to get game time, what he could do, he could stipulate in the loan contract that if he doesn't get a certain amount of game time by Christmas, we can then pull him back at Christmas and then get him back into the team here so that he can progress for the next season and hopefully kick off his Celtic career. Because I'll tell you one thing, yesterday he did have some good performances, and there was a couple of corners that he got his head to make the clearance, which I thought was good. So yeah, I thought he had a really good game yesterday. Port Chop, Sandwich Boy says, back kicking the winner would be welcome. Yep. Cheers for the invite. It'll be Tuesday morning. What are you talking about? Good morning from Pitching Greenock. Well, I've just been out for breakfast and it was 29 degrees when I left the house at 9:30 this morning. Gerard says, hail, hail. Have you seen the link to Casper from Lega Warsaw to be the next Poland number one? No, I haven't seen that one. Patrick, I'll look into that one after this video. As I said, I'll still be doing the live tonight at 6 o'clock. So make sure that you're up for that one. Wow, we're still currently sitting on 308 people watching the live. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Because believe it or not, I'm starting to see a lot of data that's suggesting that helping and giving the channel a thumbs up, even if you don't comment, it does help with the algorithm, which is interesting to know. And especially since there is a lot of Celtic news channels popping up that are faceless, and I'm probably to blame for all those channels, considering the seeing how successful the channel did when it had the robotic voice woman. But anyway, we have to go into new heights here. Paul Baird, morning, Paul. Good morning to you. Hail, hail. Our play style was fun to watch. It was interesting yesterday because you could see the sort of the same style of play from Ange, but the fullbacks weren't coming in as much as what they did under Ange. Defensively, I thought we were a lot better organised. And I think that's something where Ange I don't know if he didn't believe it. I thought we were a bit more organised. And I think going into Europe, that's going to be imperative that we're a lot better defensively. And I thought defensively yesterday we were a bit stronger, considering it wasn't all the first team. It'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Pork Chop says that Aberdeen fans weren't keen on Scales at the start, but he won them over. I think, yeah, it's because he came from Celtic. Going out on a loan would probably be the best place for him, and we can keep an eye on his performances. Yes, I think that's why, as I just said that a minute ago, Pork Chops, I said, if Brendan thinks that he's going to go and then just sit on the bench and be backup, Aberdeen have made a couple of signings. I think it's better to keep Scales here. But then again, put him out on loan the first half of the season. And if he's not getting the game time the first half of the season, we bring him back at Christmas and then bring him back into the squad there. Taylor's not quick enough for Europe, says Gareth. I don't know what it is with Taylor. Taylor was quick enough the last couple of seasons, but I don't know. He needs to up his game. He needs... I don't know. He's maybe having just a little bad spell. It's pre-season. They sat in a level because they have got no pace. Slower than me, and I'm 53. Taylor, no good enough for Europe. Scales was excellent, says Jason Lee. Considering we only had one, right, here we go. Considering we only had one of our first back team 4 playing, and that was Taylor, the future looks good and bright. We get our strongest back 4 on the pitch. It does. And that's what we said about yesterday. I'm so confused about Scales. Taylor's had one bad game, doesn't it? Useless. Yeah, it's pre-season. I wouldn't look too much into it. Mark Smith, I don't know what you're trying to achieve here, but you're about to get kicked off the channel if you keep on with your MUFC. Okay. In fact, let's just do it. Let me see. Ban user and delete the comments. User in timeout. There you go. Who cares about Man United FC? We don't. Anyway, when the ball's in the netty, there's only one George Cadetti. There is that. Love Kyogo. He seems to be everywhere yesterday. Yep. And it was interesting to see that there seems to be no adverse effect to his shoulder, which was interesting. So, that's one to watch. One to watch with that one. If we put the chances away first half, Wolves would have folded. Yeah, they would have. That was the problem we had in Europe last season, though. The one where Abada flicks it to Dyson, and Dyson completely mishit it. I thought Dyson could have done a bit better. Does Dyson play better through the middle? This is questions that need to be answered this year. We have a Jetty. He's not a chance. Should we have given a Jetty some game time to try and move him on? No. The fact that he's refused to be paid off by Celtic, I would rather, and if that's his stance, let him rot. He'll not even get the B team. Let him rot on the sidelines for a year. If he doesn't want to take the payoff, who's going to come in for him a year down the line when he's not had any game time? Yeah, bugger him if you ask me. If he doesn't want to take the payoff from Celtic and he doesn't want to move on to get his career going, he probably knows that he's not going to get as big wages in his next move than what he's got at Celtic. So it looks like he wants to sit out the rest of his deal. If that's the case, mate, sit at home and you'll never play for Celtic again. And when your deal's up, you'll be lucky to get another team, and especially on any kind of decent wages. So bugger him. Jason says, I've been saying that we need more clinical about our finish in the past 2 years now. Yeah, we have. We've all been saying that, and we've all been looking for answers, and we're putting so much pressure on Kyogo. And I think everyone thought we were going to go out and buy a striker. Oh, isn't the answer, I'm afraid. Not full time. He is a good player, but he's not the same as the grumpy Greek that we let go to America. It's just a pity that he put in the stance that he had. He could have been fantastic for Celtic, but he did want to go away, so we can't talk about the past. When a player wants to go, a player wants to go. But one goal lead is never enough, and a game is definitely not never enough. We had a few chances yesterday, and it should have been 3 or 4 the first half. The only real worry for me, the first 10, 15 minutes of the game, was Hart, and Hart did pull out some cracking saves later on in the game. He showed his experience later on in the game. I thought taking 3 keepers all the way there, having 2 keepers sitting on the bench, why didn't he bring them on? He didn't want to obviously lose the game. And Brendan maybe thought, if I change the keeper, which says to me, Brendan doesn't have the confidence of Bain and Ben Siegrist. doesn't have the full confidence for them at that level, which is interesting. That's just my take on it. It is called One Celtic Fan's View. So tell me your thoughts on it. A lot of you have saying the same over the past couple of weeks, that we need another goalkeeper. Anyway, Patrick says Judge Taylor, when he's got the other three regulars alongside. Yes, that's it, Patrick. We said that, when you've got three guys that you play with at the back all the time, and you've got to remember, last season the two fullbacks were cutting in front of the defenders, and they had the full knowledge that if anything got past them, if they had a slip up, you've got Big Carter Vickers and Starfelt that had been solid at the back together, remember? And you've got that little bit of trust, that little bit, I know they're behind me. When it comes to skills and that, they've not had that experience yet. Jason says, already looking better is Haksabanovic. It's a big season for Haxa. He really needs to kick off this season. But it just depends what game time he'll get. Patrick then goes, I remember last season, JJ was having a torrid time in the Champions League, not Taylor. Yes, it was Juranovic that was having the torrid time in the Champions League, and he went on to move to Berlin, which was a cracking move, and we brought in Alistair Johnson. We all thought Alistair Johnson was going to have a fantastic pre-season, but he got injured. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays once he's fit. Once Keon is up to speed, his mental and physicality, I mean, him playing. Yes, Calmark will be pushed up along Rio, which will be a bit better for our play because Callum plays a lot better up front. It's boiling here. I've got the aircon on, it's still roasting. Who's the better keeper in your opinion, Patrick? That's a conversation for you. Mine, it was only a friendly. These games and the score is meaningless. That's the point. They're not meaningless. These games are they're good for getting players up to speed for the rest of the season. They're also good for the manager testing out the young players. It was a bit disappointing that Ben Summers and Rocco Vata didn't make the team. But the manager is obviously, he knows what they can do and what they can achieve. And he's obviously got a plan for them for the summer, for the season. The fact that he brought in Scales and Welsh at the back was to see, right, let's see how good you are at that level. Because if you're going to move anywhere on loan, I want you to be playing at this level. There's no use like going down a level if you're going to be going out on loan. I want you to go out somewhere that's going to be at that level. I want to see how you can compete at that level. And if you're going to be good enough for Celtic at that level. Calmark is good enough to play in the top EP. He is. Calmark could be. He would go into any top English Premier League team. Will's penalty was a joke, says Paul Baird. Yep, it was. Even when I saw it first time, I thought. I mean, you seen Hart's instant reaction to get up and go, "You cheating!" in slow motion. Yeah, and the fact that the Hart even said, "Ask your linesman." Ask your linesman, and ever if VAR comes in this season, it'll probably still be penalty Rangers. So yeah, we have to see the Polish. Yes, we do have to see the Polish lads. Scales seriously looked good, says Jason. Yep. Middle to front, I'm happy. Yep, sandwich boy. They're good. Find your shooting boots in these games. Yes, it is. You do need to find your shooting boots in these games, and although it is a friendly, players do have that in the back of their mind, but players also don't want to get injured. And it was interesting that James Forrest didn't get game time yesterday because Brendan was concerned about the fact that he didn't want James to get an injury of any sorts, especially just before his testimonial. So he wanted to keep him fresh. James was wanting to get on the pitch, but Brendan says, "No, I'm going to keep you fresh for your testimonial because that's what it's all about." That day is all about James. There's no use having him. I think it was a testimonial for a player once, but was it not Peter Grant? He only played so much of the game because he was injured. I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, hopefully it's a great turnout for James on Tuesday. We need at least one ginger for good luck. Oh, yeah, we do that. Celtic will win absolutely nothing next season and will be embarrassed in Europe yet again. Lol. Says no one ever. Go yourself, James Carr. You probably just subscribed just to put that comment up. Froze. Helen, what froze? Don't tell me the screen's froze. Is it? No, it's check. Has this froze? No, it's not saying that it's froze with me. No idea what you're talking about. Anyway, let's get back to the comments. 31st of August, he's 6'3", put chop. Let me just see. Sandwich boy. Their season friendlies. It's about tweaking this, practicing that things that come from the training ground. Yes, it is. 20-year-old valued at 5.5 million. Who's the 20-year-old, Patrick? Hail from cloudy Torquay. All right, hula hoops. And I like how Tomoki can play fullback and centre back at the same game. Yes. And I think that's one of the things that's good about Tomoki. He can play those different positions, but is he going to get a lot of game time? I think yesterday I was interested to see before the game. I thought we were going to try a back three. Brendan didn't try that. It'll be interesting to see if he does try it at all. But he was looking for a more defensively thinking lineup for that game because he definitely didn't want to see it. Cheers, mate. You ready for the new season, Mark D? Yes, I'm ready for the new season. That's it. Next week, it all kicks off big time. And it's. I hope you enjoyed the video from Paddy's Point yesterday. All the old boys were like, "Are we doing the podcast? Are we doing the podcast?" And I was like, "I'm not doing it live." I said, "We'll do a video and then we'll do one." I will try and do one live, but say you've not got the same control when you're doing it live from your phone. Patrick, you think Joe is finished, a new keeper would take over? Joe's going to see it this season. I think unless we go out and we spend serious money on a goalkeeper, which at this stage of the season and the transfer window, I think it would be a bit harsh on Joe Hart. Although we do need a decent keeper in for the Champions League. Back to front, I'm happy. Let's go, says Tam. Celtic would get relegated at Christmas in the EPL. Not a chance. Not a chance. Right, explain how that would, James. Go and explain that to me. So with the current squad, you're saying they would, right? Yeah, fair enough. But give us the same money, James, as the rest of the English Premier Leagues get TV revenue-wise, right? Celtic then go out and buy that level of player. How are Celtic going to get relegated by Christmas in the EPL? Go and give me your mindset behind that. Because your budget then becomes more, okay? Our budget isn't £30 million for players. We're spending 30 million on one player. So your thinking behind it is just irrelevant, James. I'm sorry. It's just completely bizarre when people have this thought that Celtic would never be able to compete in that league. Give us the same money in a level playing field. You know, we're going to get the same TV revenue as everyone else in the English Premier League. So, yeah, it's just pure nonsense. Let's just do that. And James Carr. Anyway, nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Mark Smith was banned for their comments were removed. Why was Mark Smith banned? I didn't ban him. Oh, what happened there, Mark? What did you type? What happened there? Because I didn't ban you. Anyway, I must have swore or something in the automatic filters. Hatate's shot of the post. Oh, yeah. You have to talk about that. Hatate, when he was coming in, and it basically hits the ball, and you thought he should. Everyone thought he was going to cross it, but then he takes a shot, and if that had went in off the post, about that James Carr and all, but I've done that already. It's amazing the amount of folk that'll just subscribe to the channel to get on, and you've already done that, Jason, not Sean. It's amazing how many people will subscribe to the channel to just come on and comment, which is quite funny because they've got to subscribe and then they've got to wait 5 minutes before they can comment. Absolutely cracker. Anyway, Patrick says, I think we will win the league with Big Joe and goals. It could cost us a cup, though. Do you think so? I don't know. People are getting a bit excited about the fact that they're spending allegedly good money on players. When let's just wait till the season starts. They've been dodgy defensively. They've admitted, their managers admitted they've been dodgy defensively. They've had to rely on penalties. When I looked at some of the comments on Twitter the other day, or was it yesterday afternoon? I can't remember. The fact that even Sevco fans are thinking that they're only going to win anything this season because of penalties. We clip of penalties are saved. Joe Hart law. 3 at the back with skills would be good. I think it would be good enough in the Scottish League, definitely. Playing 3 at the back in the Scottish League and 2 up front is a must for me, especially with the way that teams sit back. There is obviously going to be some teams that will push forward, and you've seen that last season, but I think we're going to be a bit more defensively better than astute, would I say, than we were last season. Good morning, something today says, good morning, boys and girls. Okay, pre-season, look forward to taking my youngest to our first game on Tuesday. Now, there was a guy at the pub asked me to say hello to Craig for Castle Milk or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, people come to the pub and say, go and say hello to my mate on your live. And I'm like, mate, I'm in the pub. You're expected to remember this and then remember about it the next day. A Jetty should be made to train alone. A Jetty shouldn't be allowed to train at Celtic Park. If he doesn't take the payoff, Paul, he shouldn't be allowed to train at Celtic Park. He shouldn't be allowed with the contract Celtic have got. He shouldn't be allowed to go to another team and train on his own if he wanted to. It should be basically, look, if you're not going to take this payoff, stay at home. Don't come in on a weekly basis to basically put in your clocking card and make sure that you're still alive because you're collecting wages. In fact, you should make up to come in and sit in the dunce cap in the corner. Scales was probably motivated playing in Dublin. I think he probably had that, but we did say before the game, Scales was motivated because he's been given a chance, and it was, I said before the game that I thought Brendan was thrown down the gauntlet. People were saying that they were throwing them to the Wolves. Wolves were going to run riot. I think Scales was given that chance, and it's going to be a hard decision for Brendan whether he puts him out to Aberdeen. Daniel, you're getting a comment. Love for that one. Hail, hail. From Korea. Do that for that one. Heart that. So I've starred your comment so I can then come back to it at any point. Auto super chats. Willie Boy agreed. Hart is going to cost us. We need a big upgrade. Hart's got a lot of experience, but he is going to cost us, and that's one of the reasons that Man City got rid of him also, because he had that in his game. He's perfectly fine for the Scottish League. They also have the record of being the worst team in the Champions League ever. Anyway, that's about them. Hail, hail. Honestly, I hate criticism of Celtic, but most of the fans here are right. A couple of injuries, especially we're fucked our signing squads player. I don't think we're good this season. A lot of people are getting a bit, there's still a good few weeks left of the window. Let's just see what happens come the end of August. It's not ideal, and fans, you've got to remember this. The way that Ange Postecoglou did things at Celtic, and he knew that he had a rebuild, so that was the whole way that he got the signings done quick, so that he could get them in and get them embedded into the team. We never needed a lot of signings this summer. The fact that we've brought in some prospect signings, you could say, bodes well for the future. I thought some of the guys maybe looked a bit lightweight for me, but that's something that we could build on. Just wanted to give Hart confidence. I'm sure he'll be aware of the noise about Hart. Hail, hail, says Lee. I think it's because he was playing an English Premier League team. He's got experience. He's got the abundance of experience playing at that level, and he wanted to make sure that we didn't lose. For me, not bringing the keepers on in the second half, Siegrist maybe it says to me that he didn't want to upset the back line, and maybe felt that Greg Taylor wasn't 100% confident in the way that the back line was performing. So you've got to bring all this into it. There's a lot of permutations into yesterday's game that you have to sort of look at. Haxa consistently looks like the slowest guy on the pitch, says Jason. Yep, there's something weird about Haxa. When it comes to penalties, we expect players to score from the spot, but not the opposition. The taker should always score from 12 yards. The model, Derek says, I know that the model of bringing in a young team makes money, but we need some experience, especially for Europe. If we lose any players later on in the window, we may struggle. There's always a worry that somebody's going to come in for Hatate, Abada. Abada said that he wants to stay. Hatate has went out and said that he wants to stay. You've got to remember, players are going straight into the Champions League this season, right? So if a team comes in for them this late in the window, the players that were going to go for because they want the money the Jota type player, and he went for one reason and one reason only. He went for the money, and that was impossible to turn down. 200 grand a week is impossible to turn down. Nobody's going to turn that down. Football career-wise, he's probably done himself a lot of harm. Players that are any teams that come in for our players now are not going to be going straight into the Champions League. So would you leave Celtic if you're a first team regular, if you're a Hatate, if you're an Abada type player? Even I would say Matt O'Reilly. People were talking about him. Are you going to leave Celtic to forgo that chance? It could be the one and only season, might be the one and only chance that you get to play in the Champions League. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of players. It's going to take big money. It's going to take big money. It's going to take another £20 million offer, 25, £30 million offer to take one of our good players away. And I don't think that's going to happen now. You never know. Somebody might come in with a cheeky bid of like 15 million, but Celtic will just bat that straight out the window. Just bat it straight out the window. Did the missus come home pissed yesterday? No, she didn't. No, she didn't. I went out and met them. We had a nice, lovely meal. Thanks for your concern, Martin. Fitness. Yes, he asked if you came home pissed. She came home sunburnt. Aye. She came home sunburnt for the first time in 3 years. She got sunburnt. Anyway, fitness exercise yesterday is never meaningless, says Patrick. Yeah, it's not. Pre-season is inconsequential, but very useful. Pre-season is always useful because you can do a lot of things on the training ground and you can try things out that's different. You can try things that you don't have that luxury of trying when the season starts. And the next time that the manager will have any type of luxury to do anything with the players will be the international break in October. And then in the winter break, when Celtic go away for their couple of week winter break, Lanky says after the game yesterday, Brendan was talking to Hart. I wonder what he was talking about. I think he was probably talking to Hart about the fact that Hart made a couple of good saves. And it's interesting. He was probably asking Hart's advice on how he thinks if he played also, and how he thought the young boys played in front of him. Hart's in a good position to see how well that the defence coped and the movement of the defence. So he had been given feedback on the defence also and how good the young guys played. The positioning. I said at the beginning, when you look at the positioning of Welsh and Scales, a lot of the times they were level with each other. And there was one time the ball came back and the two of them went out at the exact same time. They were congruent with everything they were doing. Tactically, there was a lot of good things came at the game yesterday from the defence. And that's what the manager would have been wanting feedback on. So there's every chance that Lanky, that he was just asking his advice about that, which suggests also that this thing about getting Hart on coaching staff after he hangs up his boots, because he will hang up his boots after the end of this year, I'm sure. New offside rule. I'm not sure about that. Need a left back to push Taylor. Bernabe is too ropey. Need a proper target man for options. Yep, because I've always said that we need a Sutton type player. John Hartson wasn't really a target man. He was more bullish. You would hope that would be a bit more like Hartson and have that bit of physicality about him. But he's still young. I don't know. We definitely need somebody that can shoot from outside the box and get. But it's just a pre-season. We'll see what happens. St Johnstone are a good bet for relegation. If you doubt it, look up the League Cup record. They're out the League Cup now. Wow, there you go. Send a jetty down to the Barrowlands to sweep the streets. I wouldn't even give them that luxury to send them to the Barrowlands. I'd get them down the toilets in Celtic Park. Taylor was found out so many times. He's no good for us in Europe. Fat, says Willie Scottish Outdoors. Sounds an interesting channel, Willie. I need to check that channel out. Willie Scottish Outdoors. Stirling Albion demolished them 4-0 in Perth. You're kidding on. Is that because they didn't have a certain Celtic player playing for them yesterday, which they were trying to get back? They will win the league, dear. Let's get some more comments in. Let's jump up to how long have we been on? And the timer isn't showing because there's a stupid thing on my laptop a pop-up that is annoying the living daylights out of me. So I need to go down. So screen, give me 2 seconds. I'm just trying to do something, do that. And that's not going to tell me either. Right, my laptop's playing up. Start that. Let's get back to right. Let's see if there's any Varcast. Varcast is moved. Goes Celtic injury update. Norrocky Knox and Starfelt Knox confirmed. Callum McGregor, early verdict of new signings in Dublin. Rangers, who cares about them? How did the Celtic transfer hype? Let's see this one. That's Brendel report. Scales and Frank at Celtic admission. I really like him. That's Brendan Rodgers talking about the fact that he likes Scales. And there's not a lot of news kicking about this morning, which is obviously there's a lot of blogs and stuff in it. There's a lot of media stuff in it, but there's nothing really exciting Celtic news-wise. So let's get back to StreamYard and let's get some more comments. Half a screen to see the timer. I wonder if I do this though. Oh, there we go. We've been on for 46 minutes. I'll put that back up. Right, let's get some more. Paul Hogan, come on the Dubs today. Was at the game yesterday. From the stands, you could see that Scales and Welsh not good enough. Distribution too poor, too slow to release Matt O'Reilly. That was interesting from somebody that was at the game. I thought that they looked quite solid and they played some tactical moves together. Whereabout were you in the ground though? What angle were you looking at it at? Talks Forever says, morning everyone, hail, hail. James is a dafty. James Carr was banned and his comments removed. That's went back the way. Right, I need to come up the Jesus, there's loads of comments. Right, I'm going to skip right to the front. Been on 45 minutes, but send hello. And Ajay, Mark Smith said, same messages come on the screen. Yeah, I know the same messages are coming on the screen. It's weird. Everything's coming up. So let's get to this one. Sarah Young's is saying for who cares? Kyogo looked fit. Didn't seem his shoulder was acting up yesterday. Yep. It was interesting that Brendan came out and said that Kyogo might need a bit of surgery. But when you look at him yesterday, he seemed to have had a nice little game. Hail from sunny London. The left side is not good enough, says Paul Banks. Celtic have a skeleton squad there yesterday. They need to anti-pronto. A skeleton squad? There was only really 2 players, 3 in that first team yesterday that weren't first team regulars last season. The bench was all about giving some of the new players and a bit of time. So let's just see how the season goes. I said there was players that are due back this week. It is unfortunate the injuries that we've had, but you're better getting these injuries out of the way at the start of the season so that they don't happen during the season. Hopefully, let's get this one. Please, can we get the Wish version of Rod Stewart on the channel? He's so cool. He's done it at the pub most weeks. I'll try and get him on for a live. Right, if I do a live down at the pub. The problem is trying to do a live inside the pub. As soon as the game's finished, they put on tunes and the channel would then get flagged for copyright because of the music in the background. We definitely need a couple of starters to have a goalkeeper, left back, and a left winger. We definitely do that. Nicholas, most never get a close mate or keepers. So penalties with poor luck. You've said the same comment twice. Right, it's starting to quieten down slightly. We have been on for a good length of time. There's 399 people watching. There's only 131 thumbs up. Make sure you get the thumbs up because when I do the pre-recorded videos, I do ask at the beginning of the video, make sure you give this a thumbs up because it helps with the algorithm. Now, when I look at the stats for the live videos and I look at the stats for the pre-recorded ones, the pre-recorded ones get about 500, 600 thumbs up. So we need to these lives a lot more. Where are you based in Spain? and on the Costa Blanca, in between Torrevieja and in between Alicante and the Orihuela Costa, where Playa Flamencas and Lasagna, which down that area is a big, massive Irish area. So basically, what happened is up in Benidorm, the Brits got Benidorm, and this side of Costa Blanca was all for the Irish. That's the way I take it. When you go down to Cabo Roig, it is just a massive Irish area. Hail, hail, great stream. Jamie Sod. Yeah, Jamie, no, we did move in 2020, which was really hard, but we needed to get out of the UK before Brexit came into effect. Yes, I am going live. I'm going to cut this one short just now. I am going live at 6 o'clock tonight. I wasn't expected to go live for so long this morning. I did go live because I hadn't done the Celtic morning news. This morning news is basically around Starfield. The reason he was injured yesterday, he had a slight ankle knock. He will be ready for Tuesday's night game. They hope Liam Scales. Liam Scales had a fantastic game yesterday, according to Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers also confirmed that he's had talks with Barry Robson, and I think those talks will be around the fact if Liam does go back, he wants Liam to be team a pick, and if he's going to be a squad player, he's going to sit on the bench at Aberdeen. I think the Irishman Brendan Rodgers will say, "No, we'll keep him here." But the fact if he's going to be a first team player and if he's going to play European football for Aberdeen, I think that'll be good experience for him. Brendan Rodgers also spoke about transfers, and Brendan Rodgers is confident of doing more business in the final month of the transfer window. Obviously, since taking over since Ange Postecoglou, he's overseen 5 new arrivals. But to be fair, it looks like Rocky is the only one that's going to make an immediate impact in the club. I mean, Celtic under Ange, we were used to getting players in early, but there's still a long way to go in the window. It is good to get players in. Celtic's defensive issues should clear up over the next fortnight. Brendan said that will leave us well covered on that area of the park. Let's just get to some of the comments before we wind it up for this morning. 800 players won't cut it in Europe. Listen, there's a lot of players that this thing that we need to make £15 million signings. We've spoken about it before, Conan, and the fact that we brought in a player that was basically loaned out to clubs all over England because Tottenham didn't fancy him. And Carter Vickers is a mainstay at the club, and it would take a fantastic amount of money to take him away from us. So we need to sort of think about it. It's the way that Celtic are. Sometimes we don't like it, but we do. What's this? Man UFC. Okay. What is this all about? Timeout. Anyway, on that, what's the hail? Who is this Mark Smith? Anyway, he's just been banned. Right, on that note, let's wind this video up. Join us tonight for the live at 6 p.m, where we'll talk about everything Celtic and everything Celtic Football Club. Carter Vickers wasn't valued at 800 grand, though. It wasn't that, but, you know, there was a guy called Larson that we brought in for 650 grand, and then he went on to be a not bad little player. So on that note, hail, hail. Colin, I shall see you this evening. Make sure that you join the live this evening. We will talk about everything Celtic, and I shall see you on this evening's Celtic news. Have a great